Hello again, everybody, and welcome to what I guarantee will be an exciting and enthralling screen capture video. Today we're going to be talking about a new topic of sorts. We're going to talk about direct references or direct quotes, which you know about, indirect quotes or indirect references, which you should know about, and something new, which are called signal phrases. What I've done is I've created a sample paper that mimics your assignment you're working on, and I've included notes in it. Now, most of these notes, or some of these notes, are referencing MLA stuff, little tips and reminders. So I'm going to glance past a lot of these things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to really hone in on the three topics that I just mentioned, and especially that new idea, these things called signal phrases. So make sure that you're following closely as to give you some important information about the new expectations for your new informational paragraph. First thing I want you to notice follows my topic sentence. Even though my topic sentence has been put in my own words and I kind of synthesized some material together, I still have to have an internal citation. So you see Erdman right here, he's my source that I kind of got that information from. So even if it's not directly quoted, we must remember that we must cite all of our expert information. Best advice is when in doubt, cite it. Something new though, you'll see just below. This is what we call a signal phrase. And a signal phrase essentially gives credit to the expert inside your paper. And it has three things. It has the expert's name. In this case, it's Michelle Leheru. I hope that's proper French. So she's the person who's created the source that I'm using. Her name is followed with her qualifications or title. So in this case, it's climate scientist for National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is a very reputable source. This is good information, and it also proves that she's an expert. The third thing that you need is a speech verb. So if you notice after the name and the expert qualifications, you have this speech verb calls. And you want to make sure that your speech verb is appropriate, that it matches either the direct reference or the indirect reference that you're using after it. In this case, calls flows really nicely into her sort of defining and talking about the importance of El Nino and what it does to the globe. So it's appropriate speech verb. If you look past that, you'll see that there are quotation marks around the information that I'm using. That's because I pulled it directly from the source. This is copied word for word, which is why I have to put it in quotes. A lot of your notes are probably copied word for word. If you did that, you have to include it with quotation marks. Now, you want to be smart about direct quotes though, so if you can, try to pick direct quotes that really sort of support your main points, are important things that people are saying, especially these experts, because that makes your paper stronger when experts are saying these really important things that support your points. So you want to make sure that your direct references are worthwhile and they're important things. You don't just want to directly quote everything. Okay? Look towards the end of my direct quote, and you'll notice that even though I've already covered my author's last name in the signal phrase, I still have to have an internal citation that follows MLA format. So you'll see that comes directly from my works cited page. That's her last name, and that's how I know that that's cited properly. So make sure you have in-text citations, whether you're doing direct references or indirect references, doesn't matter. You still have to have in-text citations. If we move down further, you'll notice that my next piece of information is in my own words. This is not quoted directly. There's no direct quotes or quotation marks that you see. This is something I've paraphrased or summarized. And you'll see in the internal citation that I still have to include it. So this is an article from a online source. So article titles always get quotation marks. You'll see that there still has proper MLA in-text citation. As we move on further, you'll see there's another signal phrase that I'm using down here. Make sure it follows that formula. Expert's name, expert's qualifications or title. In this case, John Erdman is a senior meteorologist at the Weather Channel, and that very appropriate speech verb. Now I'm going to give you a link in Google Classroom with a bunch of signal phrases and those verbs I've been talking about. You just want to make sure they make sense with what you have that follows. So in this case, my information that I'm paraphrasing literally talks about the weather you would observe across the United States in different locations. So observes is a very appropriate speech verb in that signal phrase. One thing I want you to see that you maybe didn't notice though is I actually have two different notes in this piece. One is about weather that you see across locations in the United States, and the other is about duration and frequency of El Niños. Both of these came from the same source, same document, which is Erdman, so I'm just going to cite that one time right there. I don't have to cite it twice because it's from the same source and it's from the same document. So you see that internal citation right there. And remember, even if it's not a direct quote, you still must provide an internal citation. If we scroll down to the end, you'll see my concluding sentence. I don't have an internal citation for my concluding sentence because all it essentially is doing is restating my topic sentence. I'm not introducing new expert information. There's no new factual stuff. There's no new things that I would need to have an expert's qualifications to prove. It's all things that I've already kind of covered. So in this case, I don't have an in-text citation because it's not necessary. Now, if your concluding sentence introduces something new factual information, new ideas, something needing an expert's citation, you're going to definitely want to have an in-text citation. If we move on, you'll notice there's some other little highlights, but those are more referring to basic MLA stuff. So again, in your new assignments for your informational writing, you're going to have indirect quotes, you're going to have direct quotes, and you're going to have signal phrases. So make sure you use this video and use your Google Doc that you see here as resources to live by, because you will be assessed on these. Thanks for listening. Good luck with your papers.